All right. So we've had a poem about Microsoft Office. We've had a poem with voices in your head. And now we're going to have a poem about a GPS system. In this poem we have a few different voices happening, and one of those voices is the voice of that GPS. And I think the poem opens out into other and bigger questions about who is up there, who is watching us, who's monitoring us. And it's not just about, getting from point A to point B, but it's actually a very kind of religious poem. Recalculating. She's in her 60s, the church lady in the passenger seat, who's all but saying we're lost because I'm driving too fast. She leans forward and looks up. In 50 meters, turn right, as if checking the weather. You should listen to the GPS man, she says. Turn right. And dropping her voice, he sounds irritated. He's fine, we're fine, this is a shortcut. 2 minutes of forest and dotted line later, she asks about my mother. What does she do? Only to gauge whether I plan to take her home or kill her, dump the body over the guardrail. She sits on her hands. I turn up the heat. Recalculating. She checks the sky again. I explain that there is no British man in outer space wearing a headset and tracking her movements along Route 117. Well, of course there's no man in space, she says. It's all done via satellite. He's probably in Delhi. There's no man, period, I say. She corrects me. I correct her. Whose voice is that then? It's nobody's voice. It's a man's voice. There is no one. There is someone. There is no one. There is someone there. How many times have we had that conversation, right? Pull over. Listen to the GPS man. Yeah, and so despite all of our technology, we're still pretty much alone, right? And I said this in Vancouver when I was there a few weeks ago, that the aim of technology is to bring people close together and to connect people, right? So you can be anywhere in the world and someone can reach you, and they can always text you or call you, and because you have this device on you, you can always talk to people. You can never be disconnected. And in an airport, I sort of was, it was sort of an epiphany in the airport where I saw people talking on their phones and their Blackberries and all of that. And I realized that it's connecting us in a way, possibly, but in another way, it's pulling us apart, right? And that what technology is feeding us is this kind of illusion. And the illusion is that we are connected, but in fact, it just makes us unable to recognize our own loneliness. And I think that's even more scary than being lonely, right? Not even recognizing that you're lonely. And so technology feeds us this illusion that's really seductive, and a lot of people don't want to look at dead on. And the other illusion it feeds us is that we're special, that people want to reach us, that we need to be accessed all the time. This poem is called Special. Special. You want proof that we are. You're socked in romance novel covers, doo-wop nostalgia, damn Shakespeare. I tell you stories of men throwing themselves on grenades, arms and legs spread as if to embrace to save their men. We would never do that. Not for a chest full of metal, not even for each other. But people do. People do. We have enough trouble laying ourselves down, waiting to be launched or diffused. So long lives this, and this gives life to thee. bunk. Don't believe it. So long as men can breathe and eyes can see, anyone with a wedding video, an answering machine, anyone licking ice cream in the back blur of an amusement park photo will outlive us. How's that for proof? It's not what you want to hear. You want to know who put the bomb in the bomb, and I go on about airplanes bursting into orange feathers, and how some people never die because they believe, and how others have to satisfy themselves with something near immortality. The first period teacher who wheeled in the TV that September. Bystanders open their palms to the residue, for the dust of spectacular deaths to freckle them. Here's your proof. We lay hands on each other. Nothing. Not even heat. Screen went blank.
It's still going.
This is
It's just in power
the computer dying on us here.
Starts with the sound.
Maybe two more. Two more. A new one and an old one. And the new poem is called Hero. Hero. The hero wins, because that's what heroes do. When you spend the money to buy the DVD of a movie you already know the ending to. Not because you've seen it before, but because you heard from a colleague in HR that it would make you feel real good after. It was the best thing she's seen lately. And that's with her being married, and every morning pushing spoons into the faces of her 2 children. So you watch it, knowing the only thing that will make you feel good this evening is seeing a bare-chested man wail on another in a ring, and another in the street, and another in a ring, in slow-mo, and the doof-doof sounds of the gloves striking bodies in movies, which don't sound like bodies for real. Not that you'd admit to knowing that. And the hero doesn't even look like heroes in the real world, which are not the heroes in grade 3 essays either, but like, stay with me. This one time, you dropped by a woman's place, and you were sitting at her kitchen table, and she asked you if you wanted something to drink. And she opened the fridge, and you saw through the crack between her body and the door only a pitcher of water on the wire shelf in the yellow light. You want to call her a hero because she's surviving with her mouth shut. Or yourself because you're so affected must mean you're noble. Go ahead, but there are other words for you too. There's that sad feeling again.
Serious feeling.
She's just coming down from dinner.
Yeah. Sad,
This is
serious.
The dinner coma setting in. Dinner was fantastic, by the way.
Thank you.
And one more. And the title of this this collection, You Know Who You Are, is really pretty finger-pointing, right? You know who you are, Jordan. You know what you did to me back in 2008. That kind of thing. But it's also really affirming as well, right? You know who you are. You've reached a place of maturity, and now you understand who you are. And that happens at different ages for different people. And so the collection goes in both directions, right? Sometimes it's really accusatory, and other times it's really affirming. And the last poem I want to read, unlike Special, say, is really affirming. And our technology reference here. If you've ever tried to look up the word you in an online thesaurus, you will notice that there are no hits. Nothing will show up if you try to look up another word for you. And so this poem is called Triole for You. There is no synonym for you. A billion names for men like me, and none for you. None, not a few. There is no synonym for you. The thesaurus says, no match. Do you mean yogi? May I use thee? No. There is no synonym for you. A billion names for men like me. Thanks, hope you enjoyed that. So the mic is off now?
The recording's still going. The other one has a microphone too, so.
It'll pick you up as well?
Yeah.
I was gonna read a John Newlove poem.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's called Please. Funny story behind John Newlove and me. When I was an undergraduate at the University of Toronto, my buddy Jim Johnston, who's also a poet, we used to go up to the stacks in the library, to Robarts Library, and we knew the Canadian section by heart, the Canadian poetry section. And this was one of those books that we discovered and we would read from time to time, and we always felt like he was undervalued and undersold. And along with someone like Gwendolyn McEwen, whom we loved. It's called Please. Please don't look in my face with your lonesome eyes for something that's been used up a long time ago, that I look for myself in another mirror.